So, you know how this wonderful Australian Grand Prix started at midnight for us here in Central Time, right?
It was perfect time, yeah. Of
I mean, Central is superior. Do you know what time that
course.
is in the United Kingdom?
It's what, probably like 6 a.m.?
6 a.m. in the United Kingdom. And how many times did Crofty say good morning, UK?
Too many?
I mean, I don't have the number, but I felt like it was every 5 laps. Good morning, everybody. Yet, just
Well,
kind
well
of
he's
fuck
he's
us.
he's got to plug Sky Q. I mean, come on.
I mean, fair, but at the same time, bruh, what about us?
Well, I mean, if I remember, I may be wrong on this, but technically, like it's Sky gives F1 the rights to their cast. So like they cast for Sky, and then F1 just happens to also have the broadcast rights to it. So I think that's probably why, because it's cast. It's hence why they can do the Sky advertisement.
Still,
So
like every five
that's my
laps,
assumption why.
every 5 laps. Good morning, UK, and nothing. Hope you have a wonderful night, America. Because I'm sitting there in a cold, dark fucking room trying to watch this race while everybody else is screaming obscenities behind me.
You were also screaming obscenities. Don't lie.
Always and forever. Roll intro.
Forever. No.
Oh, well, okay. Great podcast, everybody. Hope y'all have a
Yeah.
good day.
See you guys. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the 2022 post Australian Grand Prix episode here with
Good
the
morning,
107%
everybody in
podcaster.
America, as this drops. Sorry, I wanted to be crofty.
A Q Faxi. Um, this will be our post race kind of recap and kind of recap once again, kind of like we had a few weeks ago. Given we have a little break here, if you don't know who we are, I am the PIMS Cody Katos Miller, and joining me as usual is Tifosi fanboy himself, Faxi the Greek Enigma.
Don't ask me why I chose Enigma for this week. It just sounded like a cool word, and I didn't really have anything else to use. And
I
really,
don't know why
just
you're.
anytime I choose stuff, it is puzzling. So, actually, Enigma fits.
I didn't even ask why at this point. I just whatever Faxi says he is this week. But I just want to say thank you all for tuning in, whether you're on Spotify or on YouTube, and make sure to follow us on all of our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at the 107 Podcast on all of them. Just argue with ourselves, all that jazz. Faxi, what do we have first?
I mean, I put it in the notes. He wrote Saudi Arabia recap, but we got to
Yeah, I
talk
know I
about
did.
fucking Australia.
Australia was fucking. We
Fucking
fucked
awesome.
Australia.
They were fucking awesome down under.
That was honestly like really fucking good race.
It was
I
a really
think.
good race despite the lack of passing. I would like to point out again that Australia really showed how much closer these cars can follow with
Yeah,
these new regulations. If you weren't on board as a regular fan before, you should be now.
I think what was really cool to see is, normally after like 2 laps after like a restart, you see there's usually like a second or so gap from car to car to car. We were getting like 3/10 from car to car to car for like 5-6 laps at least after it. Like it was surprising, and I think that was like the really like. I think this is the first race where you really saw that because of kind of how the track was at, where cars could kind of run a little bit of a train. I think we also had a little bit of DRS train that was going on for a while, which
We
is
had we had an infinite DRS train, and they even took away one of the DRS zones, which we
yeah,
went into the weekend bitching about.
yeah. I mean, that's just the unfortunate part of the double DRS zone that is on the main two straights or main two front straights, I should say. Um,
I'm glad they
it's
took
kind of
away the one that I said
yeah,
could be a safety hazard,
yeah,
and they
and they
just
were
put
going
it in
too
after.
fast.
Yeah.
And they were going too fast to chicane, and people still sent it to the grass.
Oh, you fucking sent it, bub.
Yeah. I mean, Signs definitely fucking sent that bitch.
Oh, I feel so bad for him. I have a love for young Carlothian Signs, and just seeing him go through his issues just
He
hurt.
struggled this weekend. Like, really just. It was rough to see.
It was rough to see. And then on the other side of his own garage, you've got somebody who's starting to have the emergence of Schumacher level dominance this season. I know
Part of
it's
me wants
only
to, oh,
three races,
part of me
but
wants to be like, oh, it's the car. But in reality, he's driving so fucking well.
he's a great driver. He is an amazing driver, and I think we're really getting to see it. And honestly, it's making me sadder that we didn't see this level of competition when Seb was at Ferrari.
It's Ferrari things.
And well, I say that knowing Ferrari kind of screwed themselves all those years with Seb.
Yeah.
Like that's signed, sealed, delivered.
Hey, don't worry. Seb will leave Aston Martin and be the race engineer for one of the Ferrari guys. Got to add to the amount of titles Seb has.
I was getting ready to say, is Inspector Seb taking over?
It's now Engineer Seb.
I mean, I'm not complaining about it.
We
I
have
mean,
we have a lot to talk about for this weekend.
yeah, we do.
Like,
I was gonna touch on qualifying first.
go ahead.
A few things that popped out. What the fuck, Stroll? Okay.
Don't worry, guys. This will be a recurring theme.
Oh my god, my head hurt with him.
Yeah, I
Like,
yeah. Yep.
I felt bad because Albon didn't really get to do much. You know, he had to sit out. Seb didn't have a lot of track time. They only got him out because Lance was an idiot. Because I remember watching, they were getting near the end, and you see the team, you know, they start to dial it back a little bit. They're like, okay, we still want to get the car done in time for the race, you know, so we're not having to break a curfew, but we're going to have, you know, I think a few of them were, you know, having a little bit of Gatorade, kind of standing around, making sure Lance was doing good. All of a sudden, Lance decides to do his best swerve impression and just pop Latifi. And all of a sudden, here comes Seb actually getting a chance to put a lap up.
Granted, didn't get him in the Q2, but let's be honest, you're not getting that fucking Aston Martin in the Q2.
I think he can, but I've got feelings on that. Highlights, I would say Lando's fourth place.
I mean,
I'll even
Danny Rick too. I think we gotta.
Danny Rick in seventh. Fernando in the lap that wasn't.
Oh,
He was on pace for, I believe, the estimate was going to be fourth place.
yeah, it's fourth. Depending on his final sector.
Oh yeah, but a purple second sector.
Yeah,
On the lap that wasn't.
yeah.
Valtteri's streak comes to an end. We saw it coming. He actually got 2 races further than all of us thought. Hats off to Valtteri. The fact that he had that streak going when Lewis didn't even have it.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against Lewis. Don't get me wrong. Mick squeaked into Q2.
Q2. Yep.
K-Mag supremacy, you know, top of Q1. I'll give him that. But
I know
he
with
didn't have
Haas,
a lot of.
It sounds like it was just they're still like they've always struggled with setups, and I feel like, and according to,
Do they still not have a proper simulator?
No.
Because I remember that picture from last year. I shared it with you, and I could feel your face go through your monitor. It was,
Yeah.
I think it was Mazepin using an F2 simulator of another team's.
Yeah.
Or no, an F2 team's, or it was Ferrari's like backup one.
I think they are getting one or in the process of getting one put together because now of their improved relationship with Ferrari. And I think they probably have access to Ferraris if need be.
Speaking of
But
simulators,
I don't think they have the dedicated time.
fair. Speaking of time, or speaking of simulators, Mercedes. There were some Instagram videos coming up of Lewis in Mercedes, and folks were noticing, and this is after the race, he was still running the Australian simulator.
Right.
And the general thought is he's trying to match up what his car did on Sunday versus what the simulator's showing. Stuff like that is why Lewis is GOAT.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
It's attention to detail like that.
Yeah.
He's the GOAT. Period. Like, as much of a Ferrari fanboy as I am, and as much of a Schumacher fanboy as I am, Hamilton is GOAT.
I refuse to say someone, at least in Formula One, is the GOAT. I think there's greatest of the era. And I think because everything is so different, the skills need to be a great driver have varied so much from era to era of Formula One that I think it's, you essentially create a like Mount Rushmore sort of thing. You can have the best of the modern era. You can have best of, Schumacher's era. You can have the Senna era, sort of things like that. But I think because of how different racing is from one period to another, it's not like I feel like something like football where you can say Tom Brady, American football, say Tom Brady is the GOAT. He is the best of all time. And because the skills that it takes have been relatively the same the whole time, you can be like, okay, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
With racing, what it requires from, decade to decade varies so much is huge.
He's still GOAT.
And there's always kind of like, oh, hey, yeah. I think he is in that conversation of, the greatest of their era, for sure. I mean, he's definitely the greatest of this era.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. Our Lord and Savior might be in that conversation as well.
Mahavir Raghunathan?
Yes, our Lord and Savior.
I'm going to throw you away.
He's the GOAT.
He's the wrong kind of GOAT. I mean, Charles gets pole. Max, Checo, Lando.
I'd say
Sainz back in 9th. That hurt.
Yeah, Lando's lap though.
Oh yeah,
McLaren fanboy all the way.
Oh yeah,
that was a nice lap.
I mean, absolute runaway for Charles.
Always makes it easier when Red Bull shits itself for the second time this year.
Engine Mode 11 posting. Y'all, I literally lived through this, and he posted Red Bull's reliability during the Danny Rick Max era.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is reminiscent. And somebody in my Discord even was like, what do we think of Red Bull's reliability? And I meant it when I said, okay, they're back to normal. This is what plagued them for years from being a true contender after Seb left.
I think it was an outlier that...
Okay.
I think it was an outlier that they had such a good year, or that they had, last year they didn't struggle as much. I mean, when you finally have good reliability in the last year of regulations,
it sucks to see them having so many problems right now.
It definitely makes everything a lot spicier.
Yeah, don't get me wrong on that. And I mean, fucking Max dropping out, Seb out, Carlos continuing his bad run. What was your original note that you sent me? Who was your driver of the day, and why is it Albon? Fucking 10th place for Williams. Hats off.
What an ambitious strategy. That fucking worked.
I mean, that's what you have to do when you're down the order. You have to shoot for the moon. And he landed on the fucking moon. He got them a point. That means the world to them. McLaren, double points finish. I'm also going to point out something. We talked about, we touched on El Plan and the lap that wasn't. I'm going to take it a step further with how much better his race could have been. Because if you look at the fastest laps of the race, Charles, 1:20.26. Second fastest was Fernando at 1:28.4. Mind you, he did stop on lap 53. And this was a lap 57 that he put that lap up.
Yeah, it sounds like the injuries kind of got to him. Sounds like he had some pretty bad head injuries.
This was a race that he could have done so much better.
I mean, yeah. I think it's also like it's demoralizing when you have just as unlucky of a weekend as Sainz had.
I mean, yeah, you have to put it that way. He was the last of the running cars. Fernando, Latifi, Tsunoda, K-Mag, Schumi all finished a lap down. And in front of them was Mr. I whip my hair back and forth on the front straightaway, who gets more penalty points for weaving. And you heard it on the radio.
Fuck you, Lance Stroll. That's all I heard. Fuck you, Lance Stroll.
Now, you heard it on the radio after the race. Both Mick and Kevin's engineers mentioned that had Lance properly been lapped, if they had one more lap, Lance would have finished 14th.
Yep. Yeah, I don't care as long as he doesn't get any points. That my predictions gotta see how long I can keep it true. And hey, that race ban he's gonna have later this year would be nice. It'll make it even harder for him to get a point. If he keeps up what he's doing, you're telling me he's not gonna get enough penalty points for a race ban?
Obviously, if he keeps it up, I just don't know if he'll actually go that far.
I mean, currently his track record says he's gonna fucking keep it up.
Fair, but I don't know if he'll go that far.
I'm still so. It's just the shit he does bothers me so much. Like, does he have moments where he's a great fucking driver? Like, especially in the wet? Hell yes.
Baku and the Williams P3. That was the highlight of his career so far.
Maybe his pole lap in Turkey in the wet.
I would say his third place at Baku ranks higher than his Turkish wet / all of the crap coming up from the track pole lap.
I say he is one of the best wet drivers by far that we have. Like, he is in the conversation for the best drivers in the wet.
I'm just surprised you're actually giving him props.
He has moments of brilliance, but he also has moments where he turns his fucking brain off, and then damn near, fucking like it's so exasperating because like last year I was like, oh hey, okay, Stroll's having a good year. He's not making any like too many like stupid fucking mistakes, shit like that. Like I was like, all right, cool, like. I don't want any driver to be an absolute like shit, driver. The exception of
you don't want any driver to be a Mazepin.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, oh hey, like Mazepin made it so my hate for Stroll was redirected. Now there's no one. So Stroll just gets the full brunt of it, and rightfully so. I feel like.
Saw an interesting observation via Reddit. And the more I looked into it, the more I agree. Stroll races like the AI on F1 2019. They stick to the racing line and the racing line only. And that's what's caused a lot of his issues.
And they don't know how to defend properly.
Yeah, I feel like this weaving was a little bit out of the ordinary for him. Because usually his issues are going into the turn. He puts his car on rails. Fucking be damned, everybody else around him. You can't do that all the time.
there's I think driving with aggression, like when you're driving with around other people, and like be aggressive and like Max kind of does this where he goes too far, but like he also is aware of what he's doing. Stroll goes into corners, just ignoring everybody else and saying "fuck you," deal with it. I don't give a fuck about you. If we both wreck, whatever. If
I have the racing line, you don't. Therefore,
yeah,
I am in the right.
Like versus Max would be aggressive and kind of try and get people on their edge, and like obviously sometimes he takes it too fucking far, but Stroll just but like Max is aware of what he's doing and is doing it because in his eyes it's a strategy sort of thing. Stroll just has no regard for anyone else in that corner with him.
Yeah,
and I think that's the thing is, and like he doesn't like think about what the fuck he's doing. It feels like. And obviously, we can say this from the comfort of our home. Never been in a Formula One car or any.
Never will be.
And never will be with our fat asses. And but we can make our observation of that. It's like, oh, he's frustrated. He drives like he's fucking racing in a video game where he just does not give a fuck and just has blatant disregard for anyone else. And I mean, look at the hitting Latifi. Just no situational awareness of what the fuck's going on. I mean, there was a 5-minute video that someone put together of all the times Stroll's gotten, in contact with people around corners.
Yep. That's the video where I actually saw the comments saying,
yeah,
he is 2019 F1 AI.
He just, it's like when you see something like that, you see a pattern. It's how we see a pattern with how Max can drive sometimes.
Yep.
We see a pattern of Valtteri not knowing how to drive in the fucking wet. You see patterns when things happen over and over and over again. And it's like, oh, hey, why does this keep happening? And, it's frustrating.
Oh, no, the consequences of my own actions.
His daddy will just take care of it.
God damn it. Just want to point out, I did say McLaren was my team to look for, and look what happened. We're going to ignore that I said Seb for the driver, but part of that's reliability. He just didn't get track time coming off of having COVID for 2 weeks.
I believe I said Danny Rick for my driver to watch.
Yep.
I feel like I watched him a lot, and I'm happy with that.
It was a nice comeback day.
It was great to really see how he showed up at home and really had an overall great race.
It is, and it put him fourth in points.
Huh? And then I know my team to watch was Red Bull, and we watched them a good bit as reliability strikes again.
I mean, my boy Checo on the podium. I'm happy. I am happy about that.
The updated driver standings is confusing as all hell.
Oh, I've been looking at these because that's when I mentioned the Schumacher level lead that Charles already has. George in second, Carlos in third, Checo fourth, and then you get to Sir Lewis,
and then Max, who has 25 points only from what one race.
One win.
From one win?
And then he got Esteban just back there like, oi.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It feels so weird. Just like everything seems like, if you told me it was Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, Sainz, Russell, Leclerc, so like flipped 6-1, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Fun fact. Since Vettel did not classify, he still is not listed on the points for this year.
Yep.
So he is technically still behind Latifi and Hulk.
Well, he's definitely behind Albano.
I still can't believe that Albon has as many points as Guan Yu Zhou, and they're both not at 0. I would have not called that. Or that Fernando would only have 2. I figured he'd have
only
like 4
2.
Or 5.
That's the part that gets him. It's like, holy shit. Fernando only has 2.
I am surprised he has less points than Valtteri, 10th with 12.
surprised
Sorry,
less
he's
points
tied for
than-
9th with K-Mag. The fact that Haas has points. The fact that Haas is in
Haas?
fucking
Here-
7th.
here. I want you to notice, Haas has more points than AlphaTauri. Excuse me. K-Mag has more points than AlphaTauri.
That blows me away. AlphaTauri does not have bad drivers.
No.
I mean, really, no team has truly bad drivers. Just people we hate.
I mean, granted, this is, few races in, overreaction sort of thing, but
Yeah.
goddamn.
Red Bull's still
I-
within striking distance of Mercedes.
Yeah. I mean, you got Ferrari a solid 1, Red Bull Merc fighting for 2, Papaya versus Ocon and Plan for 4th, and realistically, it's Papaya versus Ocon.
This
for
nice
4th.
race for 6th. This nice race for 6th because you got
Yeah.
Alfa Romeo 13, Haas 12, AlphaTauri 10.
For the
Can't
best of the
rule
bottom of a
Williams
half.
out. Williams
Okay.
versus Aston Martin.
So, question for you, since you always ask me questions.
Okay.
Is Aston Martin definitively the worst team, or are they just unlucky and underperforming?
Unlucky and underperforming. I need to see Seb in the car on a full weekend where his car doesn't shit out. I say unlucky.
I mean, at one point, how
They're
much?
they're obviously not as good as I thought they were going to be.
Yeah. I guess my question is, at what point does bad reliability go from unlucky and underperforming to just bad
After Miami.
after Miami? If there is a Miami race.
I don't
Did
see
you hear about that?
I don't see that court case going through.
You don't?
I don't. The city signed off on a special permit for it.
They haven't yet. They haven't yet.
I thought they signed off on it. That was the whole point.
No, it has not been signed off yet, which is why the any sort of result for the okay. So context, what we're talking about. Residents of Miami Gardens are currently pushed forward a case to try and stop the Miami GP due to noise. And pretty much any judge at this point so far has ruled that they want to wait until to see if the city provides a special events permit, which kind of gives them a pass on any sort of noise restrictions, stuff like that. I don't see it going through ever, but just gave a great segue to a talking point there. I think it'll be kind of interesting to see what happens with that, and just how hardcore it gets rejected. But yeah, as of seconds before recording this, a special events permit has not been issued by the city yet for the race.
Yeah, I've got it up in front of me right now. It looks like the judge may dismiss the lawsuit as early as Monday. The judge is unhappy that they're having to rule on such a short timeline, which fair.
Yep.
If you know the courts in the U.S., very fair having to rule on something that they need to rule on now because they're already starting to paint the track. Today was the first day that they started painting everything.
What was it? I think was it yesterday? I swore I saw a video on it yesterday.
Yesterday or today. I mean, either way, it's finally underway.
Are you ready for the second video that just shows them listing all the sponsors for different parts of the track again?
No, I don't want that fucking video. Way to not show off the track and just, hey, look at all the places you can party. That was such a bougie video.
Look at all the places that are giving us money.
Makes me sad for the future of F1.
It's the unfortunate kind of side effect of liberty, I guess. But
Ooh, hold on. I think I'm getting into the meat of this. Lawyer from Miami Gardens said that
your Arby's, you got the meat.
I've had the meat mountain and I regret every second of it. Okay. Here's the part where I got backwards on it. So the lawyer for the city of Miami Gardens would say that the residents would only have this is straight from the article from the MiamiHerald.com, by the way. Lawyer from City of Miami Gardens said the residents would only possibly have a legal case if the city were to first issue a permit and then fail to enforce its own noise ordinance. So if they issued a permit and then we're like, oh, they have to keep it down, and then they don't, then they would have an issue.
Makes sense.
So,
one other talking point real quick.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
No. Is it, if it's related to what you're talking about?
No, I read something wrong.
Okay. One thing I want to talk about, Russell with his very first actual podium where they complete a full race distance.
I was so happy for him. He deserves it.
Super happy. It's great to see it. You always want to see those people who are kind of the young and upcoming drivers do really well, at least in my eyes.
He's been overdue for a seat like that.
Yeah. He definitely is. I mean, he drove the shit out of the Williams for years.
Mr. Saturday, and I'm waiting for it. Give him a year in the Mercedes, and we're going to see Mr. Saturday take over.
Oh, I think it's going to be crazy. I think he has one of the best single lap pace on the whole grid.
Period. End of story. Signed, sealed, delivered. Lick the stamp and send it.
And I think the one obviously is right now. I mean, I think Checo has been the best qualifier. I feel like in terms of just putting together a single lap, that's insane.
I'm excited to see him getting so much out of that Red Bull that so many other drivers struggled with. Mm-hmm. Although, the way I have to look at it is it was a bunch of younger drivers versus the seasoned Checo.
I have actually heard the reason why Checo seems to be having a better year. It seems to swap. It seemed to have swapped compared to what their cars normally are. It's a little more planted than usual. Normally, Max likes cars that you can kind of do what the fuck you want with them and just kind of swing them around and turn them into a fucking drift car. It's this year. It seems significantly more planted, which is why they believe Checo is having such a good year.
Fucking Venturi tunnels.
Yeah.
Roll credits.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Speaking of roll credits,
who was your driver of the weekend? Your team of the weekend?
I mean, I had mentioned it. It was I had McLaren and I had Seb.
No. So, not your driver to watch, your team to watch. Weekend in review. Who would you say was your driver of the day sort of thing?
Okay.
Whole weekend.
Okay, driver. I mean, we already know the answer. Team.
Is it LeGreg?
No, I have my driver as Albon.
Oh, okay.
Driver Albon and Team Williams. That was a two-pronged assault. The team had to make the call and give Albon something to drive like that.
I'm going to say I 100% agree on driver of the weekend, but kind of lumping driver of the weekend with the Albon kind of team and their engineers like that, and just going, hey, let's fuck it, let's see what happens. I gotta say my team's gotta be McLaren. I think they really showed up. They took advantage of a weekend where they were feeling good. They got their setup right, and they just capitalized on the opportunity they had.
Close number 2 for me is McLaren. Yeah. They showed up and they showed out.
100%. Podium predictions. It's a rough one now for me. I gotta say.
I believe I pulled off 6 points.
You pulled off 6. I pulled off 2. With you having Charles in first. Gave you a few points. And you got 1 point for Checo on the podium. I had 2 for having both Charles and Checo on the podium, albeit in incorrect spots. Updated score for our podium predictions is 12-7 in favor of Faxi the Greek fuck.
I mean, it won't stay that way, so I'm going to enjoy it while I have it.
Yeah, you both know I'll just smack you upside the head.
It's okay. I'll Abu Dhabi you.
Oh God, no.
I mean, we could
I will brake check you. Don't worry, as you're behind me.
We could Abu Dhabi our career like that Carter. I mean, it's interesting. I didn't want to spend too long on this.
No,
because I mean, it's just Russian driver who's also racing under an Italian flag wins a karting race at Portimao.
Say the word.
Throws up a certain white power salute, and then has a maniacal laugh. And now he's lost his whole damn career, and he lost his Italian license.
Yeah. Fuck that dude.
Like, it's amazing to see what happens when the FIA have a spine, aka you haven't thrown millions of dollars at them. Mm-hmm. They have it all the time in karting, because you had this at Portimao. I think we're going on 2 years since we had the gentleman who took the front end of his kart and threw it at a driver who was still racing.
Yep.
And then his
that
dad,
sounds like a normal NASCAR race.
I mean, yeah, but
throwing your helmet at some dude.
It wasn't even the helmet. He took the entire front bumper.
I know, but tell me it's giving you NASCAR vibes, though.
Fair, but it's different when you're throwing a brick or you're throwing a helmet at a brick. I remember that too. Because the driver tried to throw his front end, missed the driver that he was trying to hit, missed everybody, and then his dad, who owned the track, attacked the guy.
Yep. Lots of entitlement in karting, I guess. Wouldn't know. We don't really have much for a karting scene in the U.S.
Isn't Felipe Massa the head of FIA karting?
I don't know.
Yeah, Felipe Massa. The man who should have won a world title with Ferrari.
Yeah.
So he obviously was just waiting. You pull any shit with him, it's over. And yeah, I didn't want to spend too much time on this because you had something else that you were jumping out of your socks over.
It's back, boys. It's back.
It's not official, is it?
It's gonna be fucking official.
Okay,
I
it's
will
not
will
official.
that shit. I will will that shit into existence. Don't make me do it. The return of Kyalami. It's gonna happen. It's gonna fucking happen. Per the race.com, Formula One is expected to return to Kyalami with South African Grand Prix in the near future.
We have one slight problem, though, with that.
I don't care. We'll make it work.
Kyalami's not a grade 1.
I mean,
they have to upgrade it.
It'll work.
But as of right now, it holds a grade 2.
Do you know what? Did you see what the what it believes it's needed really to get grade 1? Did you see that part of it?
I didn't. However, I know. I think
it's extra runoff, and then tech pro barriers were the main ones. Which that's not crazy difficult.
If anybody wants to see actually a really good video on this, Josh Revel, one of my favorite YouTubers, he actually did a video I think a year ago talking about, well, what if we return to Kyalami, and went over what he thought a lot of the changes were, and they probably honestly are in line with what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
So they do have some work, which obviously if they sign, they're like, okay, we'll be back in 2023. That's more than enough time to bring the track up to grade 1. I just want to point out that
they made Jeddah a whole ass track in like 3 weeks. Because they started so damn late.
We have feelings about that we shouldn't get into right now.
Whether we've already gotten into that a few different times. The other part of that is, given with all of our track change and stuff like that, unfortunately, Monaco seems to be staying.
Boo! I can't yell as loud as I want to with how much I hate this.
Fuck that track. Well, you hate it because you just can't drive it. I hate it because it's just shit racing.
Well, it is shit racing. It's you qualify first. Okay, don't pull a fucking Ricardo in the pits and you win.
Don't pull a Claire and not even start the race.
Don't pull a Bottas and not be able to pull your fucking wheel off.
I mean, we got some excitement last year. It wasn't even the fucking racing itself. It was all the extra bullshit.
It was actually a pretty good race last year.
I mean, okay, was it a good race or was it a good race for Monaco?
It was a good race for Monaco. I mean, it just there was those little extra things that had us like, ooh.
Yeah, but I mean, it was still unfortunate to see Charles not be able to win his home race, which you qualified fucking pole. You're probably gonna fucking win it. I don't know. I feel like that's the race where you watch for qualifying. You watch the first 3 laps of the race, and then you zone out until the last few laps, and then you see who's on the podium, and you realize it didn't change the whole race.
One thing I will say is watch Leclerc get the Senna curse, where Senna had so much trouble winning in Brazil. Leclerc's going to have all the trouble in the world winning at Monaco.
Oh, I think a lot of it's in your head too. I mean, it would make sense why.
Like, I truly hope he wins it. Mainly because I am a Ferrari fanboy.
Yeah, honestly, I like Charles. I like seeing him do good. I like seeing Ferrari do good. I think Ferrari being good is good for the sport. And I think it's kind of those things where it's always good to see. I think especially your Italian Ferrari fans are always super enjoyable to see.
Tifosi.
Yes.
We are wonderful.
As we're kind of talking about tracks, what are some tracks you would like to see brought back into the calendar?
I want to see.
I obviously a few of mine. I mean, it's got to be Malaysia. It's
how many versions of Singapore did you name the other day?
Let's check.
Oh god, he's gonna read them off. Everybody, just turn off.
So we talked about kind of our ideal schedule. I wanted to see Singapore reverse, Singapore during the day, Singapore in reverse gear, Singapore reverse grid, and then my favorite one, Singapore with reverse steering. Why have dirt track racing when you could just make shit inverted?
All right, now that he's done, I want to see the revamped Indy come back. Yeah. I am actually surprised.
Charlotte Roval, let's go.
Oh, God. No, too many G's through the turn. Mm-hmm. We would have a repeat of the USGP where we had the 6 cars start.
That's what my Road America race. Let's go.
Road America is a grade 2, just FYI.
It's the only way I'm getting a race anywhere near me, okay?
Fair.
It's literally closer for me to go to a different country than it is to see a race in the U.S.
Fair. I would like to see Indy come back. I am thoroughly surprised Indy is not on the schedule compared to, say,
Indy
Vegas
making no money.
Or fuck off. It would bring bucks in.
More than Vegas or Miami?
Miami is a short-term cash grab. Indy is long-term. You invest in Indy, you invest in the heart of American racing, you invest in your future getting brighter, because they're sure as fucking around with Drive to Survive. They're about to lose that cash cow that's been bringing people in.
Yeah. All right. What other tracks besides your Indy shit?
I think it would, if it wasn't for the factor of all the G's as well, I would say the Daytona road course. Seeing the cars go around the horseshoe would be interesting. Probably the Twin Ring Motegi in Japan.
Okay.
I know I got to watch NASCAR race there. Hell, even St. Petersburg in Florida would be hilarious. Formula One on an airstrip. Tell me that wouldn't be. Oh, and the stadium track from Formula E in the UK.
Oh,
The one that I forget which driver it was, gamed the pits to gain positions.
yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And the Nürburgring.
Okay.
I'm joking.
Okay.
I would not want a 12-mile track.
Okay.
Oh, we have a wreck on the first lap. Okay, safety car's out, and the race is over.
There is a track in Germany that we need back, though, I will say.
Hockenheim or the other Nürburgring?
We need Hockenheim back. I want Hockenheim back so
You're only
bad.
saying that because of the last race there.
It's a good fucking race. Come on.
You're
I think
only
we
saying
need
that because of the last race there.
No.
And
I
how
want
good it
Seb to
was.
win a fucking race in Germany.
It won't happen.
I want Seb. It's gonna fucking happen.
I'm actually really surprised we don't have a German race.
Germany doesn't want to pay the money for it.
Very
That's what it comes down to.
fair. I mean, plus, really, the reason why we had 2 races in Germany for as long as we did was because of Michael. Roll credits. Like, that's the only reason.
Yeah. I mean, in my eyes, we obviously need obviously it's a race in Germany. I want to see. I really want to see a race in India. Wherever that ends up being, I think having a race in India would be really, really good for the sport.
Mahavir Raghunathan waves the checkered flag. I'd laugh my ass off.
He can be the safety car driver. Go NASCAR pace car. We have a guest pace car driver.
Get out.
Then Hockenheim, obviously. I don't think that should really change.
Mount Panorama. Australia.
Okay.
The track that they use for the wonderful endurance race and supercar. Mount Panorama would be wonderful. The only part that would suck would be watching them go through 11 through 16, especially when they go into the Dipper, which is Laguna Seca corkscrew-esque.
Yeah.
Like, that would scare the hell out of me. Watching that in a Formula One car, and they wouldn't be able to stand it, but it would still be cool as shit.
Yeah.
So I had to throw that out there.
I think the other tracks obviously I want to see is Sepang. I want to get a track back a race back in Malaysia. And I'm fine replacing all of our Middle Eastern races with those because minus Bahrain. Bahrain is the only Middle Eastern track I actually like.
Toki accidentally made a good track.
It's such a good. I actually love Bahrain as a track. I think it consistently produces great races.
It was made during kind of his what I consider his first set of cookie cutter.
Yeah,
because the first one to really break the mold was Coda. And it's a great track.
Yeah,
like I see why people keep going to him.
Yeah. Obviously, I want Road America to have a race. Like, I will be very, very in your face with it forever. I want that to be a race, and I really just
Formula One at Martinsville.
You want to know what's funny? I actually have a track not too far from me, the 2.5 mile track. That is grade 3.
Which one?
I can't say.
What do you mean you can't say?
It's close to me and it gives out my location. Ish.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking at the grade 3s.
I will send it to you.
What's the first letter?
Here.
I know it's not Homestead.
You know where I live roughly, so.
Do I? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yep. It's very noticeable for it. Pretty much is a drag track initially, and then it has actually a pretty nice. It has like the only real good kart race or kart track near us. And then has an
It also
actual drag
looks
track.
very Las Vegas GPE.
Yeah, kinda. Kinda.
Still,
Um, but I think that's just because I'm biased on what races near me. Um, but the other track that I really want so bad, I want Hanoi. My I call my adopted family is from Vietnam,
Hanoi
and
is not even showing up on the list of tracks that have a grade.
because it never got its grade because of how everything happened with
Uh,
the Panorama.
well, no, it wasn't just the Panorama.
Yeah, I know, but that's why it never got a grade because it got of everything that happened. If I didn't go out and grade it while they were doing all that, that's I followed this track very intensely when I was hearing about it. I mean, there's also a lot of fucking corruption shit like that. That's why the track will never be a race. But that's why it never actually got graded because it's kind of like with Jeddah where they're gonna grade it like right before.
Fair.
Um, so yeah, that's why it never happened. Um,
Very fair.
the other track I really actually want to see a race on, the Toronto Street Circuit.
Get out.
Yes,
Yo, what about Formula One at Long Beach? Long Beach is always a really good indie spot.
they are gonna yeet themselves into the fucking
Fountain.
fountain. Yeah,
Latifi's nose is just in there. You see the back two tires. One of them's just still spinning. Guys, I don't know what happened.
Stroll's gonna swerve into someone and yeet fucking Latifi through the fountain.
Lord. Looks like, looking at our notes, you have, I guess, some follow up on the Porsche and Audi.
I actually have two things. So,
Go for it.
one I never brought up with during our Australian recap with Red Bull reliability. Um, per Dr. Helmut Marko, it's not going to be an easy fix.
I mean, we all knew that. But then
But
you've got Christian Horner who's like, I would rather fix the reliability in a fast car than try to make a slow car faster.
I mean, when a team says something's comes out and says it's not going to be easy to fix, I feel like that's a huge thing where you go, we've already accepted this is going to be a big issue that we might not ever get fixed. You know, it's kind of like you at least you fucking lie like, oh yeah, no, it doesn't seem like it's our engineers are working on it. They'll get it figured out here quickly. Why would you admit it's a big fucking problem that you can't fix? Unless it's a big fucking problem that you're not going to be able to fix.
Fair.
I think that's what scares me is like when you've had 3 DNFs this year in your main team, your sister team has had 1 or 2 now. Like that's scary.
They need to get a handle on shit.
Yeah.
Period.
The other kind of part of that, well, kind of as we talk about Red Bull, like the really interesting one, I should say. I know we talked about it briefly last week and probably a week before, probably every week at this point because there's been so much talk about it. About our Porsche and Audi and all that shit with Red Bull and McLaren and whoever else at this point. So Porsche is still believed to be partnering with Red Bull.
Yep.
But it looks like Audi, unable to find any sort of agreement with McLaren, is looking to buy a stake in the existing team.
So Sauber. Sauber, sorry.
Or Aston Martin.
I mean, they need it at this point.
Aston Martin has talked about wanting to manufacture their own engines. And why not partner up with Audi?
I mean, considering what's been going on with them, that would be a great power move. Do it.
Both McLaren and Williams seem unwilling to cede any sort of control when it comes to partnering with, or not even partnering, but allowing Audi to, have that stake in their team. So it really seems to be interesting that both Sauber and Aston Martin seem to be the two most likely at this point.
Lawrence needs to dish out the money.
Lawrence needs to sell the whole fucking thing to Audi.
So he won't, but he needs to work with them. I think that's going to be best case scenario for them.
Let Audi have 51%. Let them get rid of fucking Stroll. No more Lance.
I think it would be best for them. I don't see Alfa Romeo, Sauber leaving the guys of Ferrari just because they kind of have a junior team in them, and I'm only saying
Not
that
anymore.
because Leclerc and technically Giovinazzi was the reserve driver for Ferrari and still is.
I know they as of this year, their agreement had ended that they were required to have a Ferrari driver in one of their seats, though. Obviously, is seen by Valtteri and Zhou Guanyu. But would you leave with that rocket ship of an engine?
I mean, very fair. They need to.
I think if you asked them 4 weeks ago, if they realized that they had a freaking spaceship powering their goddamn car, they were like, yeah, we can see this being a legitimate option. Now they're getting points on the regular.
Yeah,
and they're like a decent midfield team. Yeah, come on.
Also, just to kind of add on to what you said, Vasseur had free reign for the 2022 lineup. It looks like this actually is tied into their power unit deal.
It is, yep.
And he is not ruling out Ferrari young drivers in the future, which is very smart of him. So yeah, it's not a set thing, yes, and I think that's honestly probably the best answer he could give.
Yeah. Have you heard the rumors right now of, given Joe's performance, him going to Williams next year to replace King Latifi?
Guan Yu Zhou to Williams?
Yes, because if Williams still needs a pay driver,
bad news for Zhou if Williams can't pick it up.
I mean, he's still getting a fucking seat.
They need to do a little better. I mean, yeah, but they need to do a little better before I think it would be a bad move on Zhou.
But what's his other option? To not race? I mean, if you want to race, you're going to go the only seat you have available.
I mean, yeah, but why would Alpha want to get rid of him?
Porsche.
They're not going to throw him away for Porsche. They're not going to throw away the pay driver.
If they don't need it, though.
I think it's still a need.
I know this. It seems like everything I was reading when it first kind of started coming out about them bringing Porsche is just wanting him for the 1 year.
Fair.
Obviously, who knows if that's going to keep. If Guan Yu still, has some great racing this year. Do you think keep him because he's overperformed what you expected? How much are you believing is the car? How much are you believing is him? I mean,
the best you could do is compare it to Valtteri. And I feel like he's not doing that bad.
No, I don't think so either. I think he's having a really, really good year. And definitely like better than my expectations were for him at all.
Oh,
And
we
we both
were.
had him as our 20th
I feel like we were
driver.
shitting on him. I feel like we were unfairly shitting on him, and he is
I
doing
don't
a
feel
lot
like
better.
I don't feel like unfairly. Reason being, he was never the best driver in Formula 2.
He wasn't, but he had talent. He has enough
I mean,
talent to drive a Formula One car competitively.
I think it also had a mix of also Alfa Romeo. We were expecting him to be kind of shit.
Yeah,
Um,
roll credits.
yeah.
Yeah,
And be like, oh hey, Valtteri will probably scrape together some points from him, but it's going to be kind of the same as like Vettel scraping points for Aston Martin. And we also didn't realize again the Ferrari engine was going to be as good as it is.
yeah.
So I think it made sense. A rookie driver not scoring points on a bottom performing car. It made sense. But like I am all aboard the hype train right now for Guan Yu Zhou.
I am too. He's doing really well.
I mean, hell, if we're talking, drivers who don't necessarily, or at least not necessarily got their seat purely based on merit, which brings you into the category of, Joe Latifi, Stroll. Like, I'm taking Joe.
Yeah,
Like I love he's King Latifi, but this ain't it, my dude.
it's not.
this ain't it. And obviously, our love for Stroll has been professed endlessly every single day.
Yeah, from you.
Oh yeah.
God damn. A few things I want to touch on, kind of outside of the Formula One world. Apparently, I missed it a month ago, but we had our first of the World Endurance Championship, which a lot of former Formula One drivers end up in. Found it very surprising that Toyota did not win the 1,000 miles of Sebring. Which, first of all, hey, that's pretty fucking awesome that the World Endurance Championship got to come back to America.
Yeah.
And Sebring, which honestly could be a good Formula One race. Let's be honest. Names that pop off. I know in the hypercar, Kobayashi, Sebastian Buemi both race for Toyota. Brendan Hartley's actually in the same car as Buemi. I'm kind of going down here. Jean-Eric Verne. Fun fact on that. Peugeot has a car for this year, but I guess it wasn't able to race yet. Because it has TBA on all their shit. So it's like they have a car, but they don't have a car. And Paul di Resta is actually lined up to drive it. Along with Jean-Eric Verne. I heard that. We know. Let me see. LMP2. Felipe Nasser. Luis Delatraz.
Who's racing with Kubica?
Yeah, racing with Bubaka. Sebastian Bourdais pops off. Paul di Resta actually did compete for a U.S. team in LMP2.
Yeah, because di Resta drives for United.
Well, he's going to be moving up. Sean Galile.
Yeah.
He's pretty much, his dad's funding that team. I don't have any hate for Galile. He knows he's a pay driver, and he's just, he's there so he doesn't get fined.
Aren't we all?
Little tidbit that I also wanted to add here. Apparently, there was a team that was lined up to race at Sebring that had Daniel Kvyat. And
yes, and they couldn't because of everything that happened.
Well, the team decided to pull out. I guess Kvyat did not want to give up having the Russian flag. Yeah, they were supposed to drive an LMP2, but team and driver Daniel Kvyat refused to accept FIA's code of conduct regarding the participation of Russian competitors and withdrew on the 6th of March. And I do believe that basically the code of conduct says Kvyat cannot fly the Russian flag. He has to fly a neutral flag. I couldn't find anything else from the FIA on that.
So the neutrality and peace commitment is what it's called. requires Russian drivers to agree to guidelines and measures such as not displaying Russian flags or symbology on their cars, clothing, and social media, as well as not expressing support, direct or otherwise, for the actions taken by Russia and Russian president. I'm not going to say his name because, yeah.
Just say that.
Yeah. It's also well, I don't really have a fucking choice because the G-Drive Racing is backed by Russian oil producer Gazprom.
I
Which
did
is,
not know that.
Yeah, which had issues because of them sponsoring Schalke in the Bundesliga
Okay.
as well.
Okay, and I'm looking here a little further. Algarve Pro Racing, who operated the G-Drive program, are the ones who stepped in. Okay. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. I do keep an eye on the WEC. If anybody is curious about watching endurance, give it about a month after each race. They do a really good hour-long movie of each race. Okay. It's just a great cinematic. And honestly, Cody, if you're even interested, go watch the movie from last year's Le Mans. Okay. It's just a really nice breakdown of, they go through all 24 hours of it. I know the next race we've got on the 7th of May. We have the 6 hours of Spa, and then we get our 24 hours of Le Mans, 6 hours of Monza, 6 hours of Fiji, and then 8 hours of Bahrain.
Happen to watch the boxing match this weekend?
I did not.
In NASCAR?
There was a fight and I missed it.
Yes. It was in the Xfinity series.
Who was it?
Gibbs.
Oh, Ty Gibbs and Sam Mayer. Okay, I have a video to watch after this. Let's go. Oh, it's at Martinsville. That's why.
Yep.
Short tracks being short tracks.
Gibbs did like a little bit of a bump, and even though he's been doing it all year, and yeah,
one too many times. Also,
talk shit, get hit. I guess
talk shit, get hit. Indeed. IndyCar, real quick. My boy Scott McLaughlin sitting 5 points back. Justin Newgarden's leading 2 wins. He's having a great season.
With second place.
Romain Grosjean sitting in 6th right now. Scott Dixon 5th. Alex Palou sitting 3rd. Pato's not having a great start.
Yeah, Pato is.
The fact that Alexander Rossi's way back there. I want to see more, obviously, from Callum and pretty much all of the young drivers who went over there. I really want to see one of these young drivers go from Formula 2 to Indy and still keep enough points to be able to race F1.
Hey,
and then F1 just be like, I get your ass.
No, I really want Roman to win. It's unfortunate.
Little trivia thing to go out with you on. And I know this one for a fact because it was really weird but cool video I watched.
Okay.
Who was the last Formula 1 world champion? Or who was the last person to win a Formula 1 world championship and then the next year win the IndyCar championship?
Win Formula 1 championship? And
then won the
IndyCar?
world championship and then went to IndyCar and won the next year.
I'm trying to think of.
This one's blowing your mind, isn't it?
Andretti?
No. The Ferrari fans referred to him as El Lionheart. Mr. Nigel Mansell.
Okay.
1992 world champion. 1993 kart IndyCar World Series champion.
I would have had.
He won with Williams in 92, took off, went to race for Newman Haas Racing, and won the title, and then finished 8th the next year. Got third in 93 at Indy as well.
Yeah, I had no idea who it would possibly be.
I know it's such a curveball, but it's like a cool bit of it's just a cool bit of trivia that now you know.
Yeah,
I think he's the only person to do it,
like
back-to-back years.
Probably.
But it's easier for me to just say who was the last, because I know for a fact he was the last.
I can't think of anyone else who, like, yeah. 'Cause I'm trying to think of, like, who would be a good driver that would have gone over. Like, that would have, I mean, especially as you get later and later, because of the drivers we've had lately seem to, like, yeah, I had no idea who possibly would have.
Yeah, I had to hit you with that. I just figured,
That's a good
hey,
one.
that's some good shit.
That's a good thing to wrap it up on, I think.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking real quick. I want to see if I can back up what you just said about did Andretti do it? No, he did not. Andretti was the 1978 Formula One world title holder, and then he won Indy in 84. So there was no overlap like that. But yeah, I think that's a good point. Let's go ahead and roll credits.
Alrighty. Thank you all so much for coming out and hanging out with us as we had our wonderful 2022 post-Australian Grand Prix episode here with the Most 100% podcast crew. I'm Pie Menace, Cody Cows Miller, and joining me as usual was the Tifosi fanboy himself, Faxi of the Greek Enigma. Thank you all for turning in.
I love how I fit the name this week.
What?
I love how I fit in with the name this week.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one. So thank you all for tuning in, whether on Spotify or on YouTube. Make sure to follow us on all of our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at the 107 Podcast. That'll be it for us today. Y'all have a good one.
Take it easy, y'all.